Pharmacoepidemiology, Definition and Scope. Welcome to this presentation on pharmacoepidemiology. In this session, we'll explore how medicines impact large groups of people and how researchers study both the helpful and harmful effects of drugs in the real world. Definition and Scope. Epidemiology focuses on how diseases occur and spread within a population. It investigates the causes, risk factors, and patterns that influence the disease occurrence. When the disease spreads rapidly, we call it an epidemic. Large-scale outbreaks of diseases, particularly the infectious ones, affect many individuals in a short period of time. Pharmacoepidemiology brings a new angle. It studies how medicines work in large communities, helping us understand their benefits, risks, and overall outcomes. This helps determine the real-world safety and the effectiveness beyond the clinical trials. Introduction to Pharmacoepidemiology. Where pharmacology meets population health. Pharmacoepidemiology sits at the crossroads of pharmacology and epidemiology. While pharmacology focuses on the actions and effects of drugs, epidemiology analyzes health events within populations. Pharmacoepidemiology brings these fields together to evaluate how drugs behave in large, real-world populations. This helps improve patient care, guide clinical decisions, and support healthcare policies. Origin and evolution. Pharmacoepidemiology grew significantly after the thalidomide disaster in 1961, where thousands of infants were born with severe deformities. This tragic event highlighted the urgent need for drug safety monitoring. Over time, numerous adverse drug reactions were identified, such as chloramphenicol leading to gray baby syndrome, isotretinoin causing birth defects, and fluoxetine associated with suicidal thoughts. These findings strengthened the importance of monitoring drug risks and ensuring safer therapies. Drug utilization studies and ISPE. Growth of drug utilization research. In the 1960s, drug utilization studies began to examine how medications were being used in real clinical settings. Initially, much of this information was collected for commercial use, and health authorities couldn't access it. To improve transparency and promote scientific collaboration, the International Society for Pharmacoepidemiology was established. Today, ISPE plays a major role in gathering reliable drug data on drug effectiveness, developing research techniques, and ensuring that medicines are used safely and responsibly around the world. Need for pharmacoepidemiology. Clinical trials are essential, but they cannot answer every safety question about a medication. Rare or long-term adverse effects may also go undetected. Experimental models are often unable to predict the teratogenic effects. Traditional clinical trials are not designed to detect rare adverse drug reactions as the sample size is usually limited. Clinical trials involve a highly selected group of participants who don't have major comorbidities or take multiple medications. They usually involve a small, carefully selected group of participants, and they often exclude pregnant women, the elderly, and children. Pharmacoepidemiology steps in to address these gaps by studying medicines in real-world populations, allowing us to detect uncommon reactions, understand risks across different groups, and evaluate drug use in everyday clinical practice. Aims of pharmacoepidemiology. The core aims of pharmacoepidemiology include generating early signals of drug-related problems, measuring the level of risk associated with these events, and testing scientific hypotheses using real-world patient data. Signal generation. Signal generation is the first step in identifying unexpected effects of medications. These signals often arise from case reports or unusual patterns seen in patients. A classic example is minoxidil, which was originally used for hypertension. Early reports of excessive hair growth suggested a new effect, and over time, this observation led to minoxidil becoming a widely used hair growth treatment. This demonstrates how signal generation can reveal both harmful and beneficial drug effects. Risk quantification. Once a signal is identified, the next step is to measure how significant the risk truly is. Risk quantification uses structured tools, including statistical principles like the rule of three, to estimate risk levels even when events are rare. Because uncommon reactions require extensive data, large population studies are essential. This helps health professionals understand the true magnitude of drug-related risks. Hypothesis testing. In hypothesis testing, researchers dig deeper to confirm whether an observed association is genuine. They compare different groups, such as those exposed to the drug and those not exposed, and analyze variables like risk factors and underlying health conditions. This step helps determine whether the drug truly causes the event or whether the pattern occurred by chance. Application of pharmacoepidemiology. Pharmacoepidemiology relies on statistical tools to differentiate true drug effects from events that may occur just by chance. By applying statistical analysis, healthcare professionals can be confident that the observed differences are meaningful. This step is essential because decisions about drug safety, continuation, or withdrawal must be backed by solid and reliable data rather than assumptions. Estimation of risks of drug use. One of the major applications of pharmacoepidemiology is the estimation of drug-related risks. Every medicine has potential benefits and potential harms, and real-world data helps us understand where that balance lies. A classic example is triazolam, a drug that caused central nervous system disturbances shortly after entering the market. Further studies revealed that these reactions were largely dose-related. Some countries chose to withdraw the drug, while others managed the problem by recommending a lower dose. This shows how risk estimation guides safer medication use. Support and counseling. Pharmacoepidemiological evidence is extremely useful in patient counseling, especially in situations filled with uncertainty. When healthcare providers have access to large sets of real-world data, they can offer more accurate guidance. For example, a pregnant woman who fears fetal malformations may initially consider terminating the pregnancy. But if studies show that the risk is extremely low, she may feel reassured and choose to continue. Evidence-based counseling supports patient autonomy and reduces unnecessary anxiety. Contribution to public health policy decisions. Public health decisions must be backed by strong evidence, and pharmacoepidemiology provides exactly that. It helps policymakers understand how drugs perform outside controlled clinical trials. If a medication is found to be overused, misused, or unsafe in certain situations, authorities can decide whether restrictions or withdrawal are necessary. PEY studies offer a detailed picture of how a drug behaves in real-world settings, allowing regulators to take timely action to protect public health. Role in pharmacoeconomics. Pharmacoepidemiology also plays a major role in pharmacoeconomic assessments. When patients experience avoidable adverse reactions, it often results in hospitalization and increased medical costs. PEY data helps reveal these patterns. Understanding how much a drug contributes to resource consumption allows healthcare systems to plan better and implement strategies that reduce unnecessary expenses. This ensures that medications are not only clinically effective but also economically efficient. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. I truly appreciate your time, attention, and willingness to learn. I hope the concepts were clear, informative, and useful for your academic as well as professional growth. If you have any questions, doubts, or topics you'd like to explore further, feel free to reach out. Your feedback and suggestions help in creating even better content. Once again, thank you for being here, and keep learning, keep growing.